Hi there, Victor Pross speaking to you, anarchist artist. Okay, this is an open video blog for Mr. Christopher Greene of greenwaveradio.com, and I've done a few videos about Christopher Greene's show, guests that he's had on, some of the things that Chris has covered, and I do recommend that you do watch his channel. He brings valuable information to the table. It seems that, I think anyway, that some of the videos that I have done has seemed to make kind of a slight impression on Mr. Christopher Greene. I had initially called in and gave a little kind of a snit about his misuse of the word anarchy, and I just tried to broaden his scope as to what the word means and its history, and that it is a matter of philosophy and academia, and that it's not a Johnny Rotten song where you have people throwing trash cans through windows. Try to make that clear to him. And Christopher Greene is very well apt at presenting alternative media from which we gain our intellectual sustenance through him and other like-minded people who are also bringing alternative media to the fore, so as to escape the mind-shrinking propaganda bullshit that is typical of mainstream media. But I put it to you, Chris, I put it to you that perhaps you should equally open your mind to alternative ideas, let alone news, alternative ideas other than what the mainstream culture would have you believe. And really that's what philosophy is all about. So I tried to indicate that you know, anarchism actually is a school of thought. It's not just some you know, word that you can pick up like a club or like a broad brushstroke and just paint all things ugly whenever you trounce on the word, and which is what I still have to take issue with you, is what you're still doing, because I've noticed in your videos, and believe me, I am listening. I do listen in. Very little escapes my attention. I'm paying attention, Chris. I'm paying attention. And I've noticed that you use the word anarchy, and you just rely on the negative connotations that the word carries with it. You know, that if whenever you're talking about government largesse and all its corruption and its ugliness, and you know, the abandonment of the Constitution and the abandonment of the rule of law, and that the sociopathic nature of politicians, you refer to that as an anarchist state. And I've noticed that you've done that. And then in some other video, and sometimes even in the same video, then you refer to the idea of the idea that we need government, however, that a stateless society would immediately descend into social chaos, and that too, you see, is anarchy. So with a large corrupt government, you have anarchy, and then without government, the very idea of it, of a stateless society, well, that would be descend into mayhem, and that too is anarchy. So it's anarchy, boo, hiss, no definition of the word. Just it's a bad thing, and it's even when it's contradictory, it's still bad. You take big government, bad, and then you have social chaos of plundering social chaos because of the complete absence of government. That's an anarchist state as well. It's all bad. As long as the word anarchy carries its negative connotations, then that's all that you're relying on. And I'm just telling you that there's a lot of people, especially if you read the commentary in your self-government video and some other ones too, you'll notice that there are very intelligent anarchists who are listening in just as much as I am, and I'm not going to accuse you of being intellectually dishonest. I'll just say that you're in intellectual error, and more and more as you listen to these videos, you have less excuse to, because I put it to you that anarchy has words have meanings, Chris. Words have meanings, and there is a larger meaning to the word anarchy, and that material is in ready abundance before you. I'll link some sources in the body of this YouTube video. You could start with Murray Rothbard. You could go on to Stefan Molyneux. These are anarchist thinkers. See, it's one thing, Chris, it's one thing to disagree with an idea. It's another thing to be ignorant of it, though. So if you're ignorant of a subject, you can't agree or disagree with it. Okay, all you can do is to disagree with the idea of looking into the ideas. That's what you can disagree with. I, Christopher Greene, I'm not. I know that anarchy has a different meaning, but I'm not interested in doing the appropriate studying to speak on it. So I disagree with the idea of studying anarchism. That's what you can disagree with, but you can't disagree with anarchist ideas, and that it is a matter of ideas, that it is a school of thought. You can't say I disagree with those anarchist ideas because you don't know them. You don't know them, but they're already abundance there for you to pick up and to consider, and just to make yourself more of a much more rounded, educated person. I mean, you spoke of about that TSA agent as not even having perhaps a high school diploma, and boo hiss for those ignorant people who don't go on to post-secondary education. They're deficient in some matter. Well, if education's a good thing, and I think that it is, then educate yourself, and find out what these ideas are all about. So, I'm still doing some research in regards to the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence, of which I'm going to do a video about that. But at least I wanted to say this much. Now, I know that you're a small government advocate kind of dude, and it's really important, as I said in one video, that you really have to look at the forest and not just the bark of wood. The bark of wood is like the specific information that you bring to us, the nitty-gritty details of political corruption as what's taking place in modern times, and with certain specific names behind those political corruptions. That's the bark of wood, and you're bringing forth knowledge as to that is taking place, and I'm trying to get you to step back and look at the forest to have an understanding why it's taking place. You might ask the question that you might put it to your audience that these political corruptions are going down. That's well and good. That's very valuable information. It's important to look behind the curtain to see that there is no grand wizard, that it's just all smoke and mirrors bullshit. And but you can still find yourself, as I say, humanity on a hamster wheel, making the same mistake over and over again by focusing on a different set of barks of wood. You know, you have the government in its current incarnation. Let's get rid of that. Let's get the government, a new government in place, which it just becomes, adopting a new corruption under a different guise in a different incarnation. And so the problem is government. And this is not just me sprouting off my opinions and things like that. This information is available, Chris. It's all available. You can ask what the history of government, the origins of the state, whether it goes back to nomadic tribes with tribesmen bashing the head of other tribesmen, or tribesmen who were much more charismatic and were enabled to enthrall a whole mass of other fellow tribesmen with their stories of conquer, and that they alone are speaking to certain spirits and gods as manifest through them, and they were able to intellectually manipulate, and to gather tribesmen that made up armies and things like that. And later on, this could be like the origins of the state, and as time moved along, it became much more adorned and complicated, where you have democracy, this phenomena called the state, taking all its different forms throughout history, the monarch, kings and noblemen, and presidents and prime ministers, and then you have it becoming much more decorated with anthems and flags and emblems and things like that. But it's just still the state, and that's one of the crucial differences, I think, between a minarchist and an anarchist, is that a minarchist, can realize that there are corrupt governments. And sometimes the corruption lies in the fact that it's large, and that's the source of the corruption. So what we have to do is we have to bring it down and make it smaller, and we need small government. So the smallness becomes the value, and they speak in terms of that the government is something that's legitimate, but can become corrupt whereas the anarchist simply looks at the anthropological, sociological, historical facts, and to understand that the government is corrupt. It doesn't become corrupt. It is corrupt, Chris. It is corrupt by its very nature. By its very nature. And all you have to do is step back and look at the force and trace the history of government and how this social phenomena, how it began. And what you'll find in history is not Victor Prost pontificating just negative barbs, whatever I can toss, any shit, and hopefully some of it will stick. No, I'm just going to the facts. Just going to the facts, Chris. Just the facts. The government is something that is, its origins relies in propaganda and establishes itself through force and violence, bloodshed. That's how the state has established itself in all of its incarnations throughout history. All of it, everywhere, the world over, whatever the incarnation it has ever taken. The state, by its very nature, is the institutionalization of force. Okay, and it maintains itself by force. It established itself by force. It maintains itself by force. That is the state. Now, if you think that from that dung heap that some rosy little flower can grow, I would say that you're mistaken. And you can look at it this way: is that the state really is just a heaping pile of shit. Okay, and the minarchist, the small government advocate, is saying that, well, yeah, but it's a necessary evil. I mean, even that's an oxymoron, necessary evil. How is it the evil is necessary? And how is that some kind of goodness resides in the smallness of something? Like if somebody places two plates before you, one has a heaping glob of shit on it, and then another plate has just a little tiny speck of shit, and somebody forces you and says, well, you got to eat one of those plates. You're going for the small one, but it doesn't remove the fact that it's still shit. Okay, so the largeness of it and the smallness of it doesn't dismiss the nature of it. Okay, so if big government is bad, and it is, it doesn't mean that lesser government is thereby good. I could put it this way: that if let's say that you move into a new neighborhood, guy next door comes over to you, he brings a cake, is that his wife cooked, you eat it, it's very good. That's a positive good. It's positive. He was very friendly, brought you a cake, the cake was delicious, it was good, very friendly, that's good. It's a positive good. But if that same neighbor came to you and said, hey Chris, how you doing? Guess what? I'm not going to punch you in the face, and I'm not going to steal your car. Well, I mean, this is good that somebody is not going to do those things, but it's not a positive good. It's not a positive good. So if you get like a Ron Paul kind of person whose entire mandate is to cut down to size, to bring the mighty Goliath Leviathan shit pile called government and bring it down to size, well, it's good in the sense that it's being something that's bad is being reduced, but it's just merely the continuation of the state. It's just merely the continuation of the state. And when it comes to Ron Paul, we get all distracted by a pleasant personality. We kind of like miss. Once again, we're just focusing on a bark of wood. We're just focusing on the bark of wood, and we're not looking at the forest. Ron Paul's a great guy. I like Ron Paul. And when we look at him, we go, yeah, that should be the face of the state. Well, Ron Paul, as a person, I'm sure is a very good person, and I'm sure that his family and his friends would know that. And in his capacity as a doctor, I'm sure he's a good doctor. He offered a positive value. As a person, he offers positive value, and as a doctor, a physician, he offered a positive value. As a physician, he offered a positive value, but as a politician, there is no positive value. It's just a negative value. His whole attempt is to cut the government down to size, something that shouldn't have been there in the first place. It's a negative value. It's the same thing as the guy coming to you and saying, Chris, today I'm not going to punch you in the face and steal your car. It's a good thing if those things don't occur, but it's not bringing something positive to the table. So Ron Paul has nothing positive to bring to the table of politics. And the continuation of government is not a good thing, small or large. It's not good. It's just not good. Okay, it's shit. So this is where we come to the issue of the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence. And let's just move along on our railroad jaunt here. And that's exactly the type of issue that I want to take up in my next video, is to talk about this, because you know, like the Bill of Rights and the Constitution is held up as holy writ. It is the Minarchist's holy scripture, you know. So, and they are brilliant documents, that is for sure. And I guess the Minarchist is probably astounded that the anarchist just can't behold the wondrous and genius of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, and that if governments would follow these documents to the letter, then all things would be good. Well, that is the subject of my next video. But I do thank you, Mr. Christopher Greene, and all those who listen to my videos for hearing me out on this one. Oh, by the way, if you do enjoy my videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Post whatever videos that you find intriguing and interesting on your Facebook wall. Pass it around, get the word up, give me a thumbs up. I'd really like to get some greater hits on my videos and some more subscriptions, so if you can help me in that quest, I'd really appreciate it. It's Victor Pra signing out for now. Anarchist artist, pop goes the culture.